What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at a fight that took place on December 10th, 1982 at the Caesars Palace Sports Pavilion in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was for the WBA Heavyweight Championship belt. Mike Hercules Weaver, to your left, was the WBA Heavyweight Champion. He became champion in 1980 when he knocked out in 15 rounds, dramatic fashion, John Tate. John Tate became 1976 Olympic gold medalist in the heavyweight division. To your right, you have Michael Dynamite Dokes. He was a worthy contender. He was 15 years of age in 1974 when he faced Leon Spinks for the AAU finals. Leon Spinks became the 1976 Olympic gold medalist as well, and that was a tremendous accomplishment. That same year, 1974, Michael Dokes had lost to Bobby Stewart for the Golden Gloves finals. Now, those who don't know who Bobby Stewart is, he was a correction officer at the School of Tryon when Mike Tyson was incarcerated. And Bobby Stewart taught Mike Tyson a little bit more about boxing than he knew from the streets. And when Tyson got a little stronger and a little bigger, Bobby Stewart had brought Mike Tyson over to Cus D'Amato, Teddy Atlas, and Kevin Rooney. So Mike Tyson wound up becoming a heavyweight champion in the future in 1986 when he knocked out Trevor Berby. You can learn a little bit more about Mike Tyson in Scrapbook Boxing, and I will go through his career with you there. But Michael Dynamite Dokes was a good. He would also fight John Tate and Greg Page in the amateurs. He did very well. In 1974, he would win the North American Championships. I first discovered Michael Dokes in 1977 when he was sparring with Muhammad Ali. And since it was on television, Michael Dokes, he really became recognized. So he was definitely the goods. And the reason why that fight was controversial, because a minute and 3 seconds into the first 15 rounds of that fight, Michael Dokes ran over across the ring and he would hit Michael Weaver with a couple of punches and Weaver would eventually go down. He wasn't warmed up enough. And the referee would wipe off the gloves of Mike Weaver and Michael Dokes would come off, across the ring again. He would bring Mike Weaver to the ropes, hit him with a 20-punch combination, and Mike Weaver would throw one hook out of the 20-punch combination. And the referee, his name was Joey Curtis. He stops the fight. And that was it. The entire crowd of 4,500 was very upset. They started throwing cups and everything into the ring. And they were booing. And they were saying it was a fixed fight. And when the announcer, Larry Merchant, had interviewed Tony Curtis, the referee, he had asked him, Joey Curtis, the referee, he had asked him, why did you stop the fight? Was it because of the Ray Mancini and Dooku Kim fight? That fight took place November 13th, 1982. The referee was Richard Green. Now, Richard Green was the same referee who refereed the Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes fight. And, that was a dramatic knockout. It was 14th round, 18 seconds into that 14th round. And Ray Mancini hit Dooku Kim with a straight right hand and the fight was over. And unfortunately for Dooku Kim, he died in the ring. So that shook up a lot of the referees. And he asked him, did you stop because of that reason? He said, no. I had asked him. I gave him several chances and he didn't respond. And so I had to stop the fight. And as I looked at that fight, I noticed that Mike Weaver didn't throw a punch back. He only threw one hook back and he didn't respond properly. It should not have been stopped, no, but you can't argue with him because at that point in time, what had happened with Dooku Kim and Ray Mancini, I can't really blame him. So that's exactly what happened. And the ring announcer, Chuck Hall, who was informed, don't announce TKO because the crowd would go nuts. And so he did not. He just said what had happened. The fight was stopped and he got out of the ring. It was such controversy that time. I remember that like yesterday. And so they had to have a rematch, and they had a rematch. That rematch took place May 20th, 1983, and 15 rounds, very good fight. Mike Dokes had one of the fastest hands in heavyweight history outside of Floyd Patterson. I saw him fight several times. I was at the Holyfield and Dokes fight. I was at the Michael Dokes and Donovan Razor Ruddock fight at Madison Square Garden. Unfortunately for Dokes, he was hit with a brutal punch, and he was out for 7.5 minutes. And I knew Michael Dokes personally. The last time I saw Michael Dokes, it was myself, him, and Buddy McGirt. We were at the Kevin Kelly-Troy Dorsey fight at the Fell Forum. And that's the last time I actually spoke with Michael Dokes or saw him in person. But he was a stand-up humanitarian. Unfortunately for him, he had a drug overdose problem. And, that was about it for Michael Dokes. He went on to fight, like I said, Holyfield and Riddick Bowe and Razor Ruddock and all those guys. And, he was just past his prime. But he was a very good fighter back in the early 80s. But that was a very good fight. The second fight, like I said, it took place May 20th, 1983. The referee was Richard Steele. And that was a different fight. Michael Dose had fast hands, and Mike Weaver held his own. It was a good fight, but I just wanted to go through that fight with you right here on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series, because Michael Dose and Michael Weaver were very good fighters back in the 80s. I would advise you, if you want more information on these two fighters, go to Blood Boxing's 1981 and 1982 heavyweight series, and you'll learn a little bit more about their careers and that particular fight that I'm referring to. Thanks for hanging in there with me. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Salute to these great fighters. Salute to my subscribers. And salute to old school boxing. Peace.